Hi everyone.
Hello.
Look who's back. It's
Hi.
my sister.
It's been a couple of months, hasn't
It has, yeah. It's been a couple of months. You know, Christmas, New Year is over. It's back to normality.
Thank God.
And you went, I've got the week off. Let's spend some time
Yeah,
together. So
which is
thus we had
nice.
to squeeze in a couple of videos before you got home
I
tomorrow.
do, yes.
So, this video was one that Laura suggested. It's one to talk about our ships.
Our ships, because we've never done that.
We've never done that. It's about time that we actually did that. So we kind of made lists of our ships, and we didn't have like a set rules in regards to, you know, like the same-sex couples or, you know, it's
No,
kind of
just whoever.
it's whoever. It's to do with chemistry and all that. So you could have siblings, you know, friends, whatever relationship.
OTPs, bro TPs,
Whatever.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So we set out making our list. And so we're just going to go through them in no particular order. They're just what we wrote down last night.
Yeah.
So do you want to kick it off, Laura?
Well, my first one are my soft husbands of Emmerdale Village, Rob Ron, Aaron Dingle and Robert Sugden. And these two they are two of the best characters that Emmerdale has ever made. They fit together so beautifully. They've earned every ounce of happiness that they've coupled together. Their wedding I was a mess. I was a fucking mess.
When did they get married?
They got married on the 5th of October.
5th of October. Oh, yes, because we were in Oxford the week before and I saw the stag do. Yeah.
It was so beautiful. And it was perfect. And they had been married the year earlier, but it wasn't legal because it was the day before Aaron had to go to prison. It's a long, long story.
Yeah.
Their love story has a literal body count, but you know, it's fine. But I love them so much, and they are wonderful, and I love them, and I wouldn't be without them now. Honestly, I found them at the end of June. It's been 7 months, and I still just adore them. I completely love their love. I love how much they love each other and how they're messed up as individuals.
Yeah.
And yet somehow they're able to heal what the other one's brokenness is.
Yeah.
Like Aaron has a lot of really terrible abandonment issues. He was abused by his father. So Robert always stays with him. Yeah. Always. He's pushed Robert away, God only knows how many times, but Robert always stays with him. And Robert was banished by his father when he was 17. He's literally told to get in a car and go.
Right.
And that broke him in a lot of ways. And he never felt forgiven by anybody for any reason.
Right.
But Aaron forgives him because he can see that Robert is trying to change, trying to become a better person, trying to not be the person he was when he came back to the village.
Okay.
And that's what I love about them. They just absolutely complement each other, and they love each other so much, and they're crap without each other.
Yeah.
And now they're married, and it's perfect, and that's why I love them.
That was well put, Laura.
And they're both so beautiful. They are like, oh my God, like literally. You came down this morning, and I was watching Aaron's speech.
You were, yeah.
Aaron made this huge speech when they got back together in February, and he stood in front of Robert and basically told him everything that he had ever done right in their relationship, and then begged him to come home. And it makes me cry every single time I watch it. And I was crying. And
you were, yeah. And I was a bit like, what are you crying?
I know, she's like, really?
I know, I literally just came downstairs and you're sat here on my sofa crying, and I'm like, where did that come from?
It's the way he gets choked up, and the way he just says, will you come home with me? And I'm like, yes, go home, Robert. And he does. And it's everything. They are amazing. Anyway,
Fabulous.
Your
okay. So my first one is Hook and Emma from Once Upon a Time. Now I really love Once Upon a Time. I watched it. I think it was early 2018. Might be, or a bit later than that. And I obsessively watched it. I got through all 7 series in 6 weeks.
I know. I had to mute you on Messenger.
I know,
because I've never seen it.
Because we're in Messenger with a. Two of us and our friend Sarah, and Sarah had seen them. So I was sending messages about what I was watching, that Sarah would understand and reply back to, because Laura was just like, oh, another one.
I muted you for a good day. When I knew that you were having a binge, I was like, mute.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Sorry.
But Laura hasn't watched Once Upon a Time. You just couldn't connect with it, which is fair enough. But I absolutely loved it. And I'm actually rewatching it at the moment. I've got the Blu-rays. I'm just about to start series 3, which is my absolute favourite series, and it's the series that Emma and Hook get together. It's so wonderful. So they have a very kind of like Robert and Aaron, that thing of they have their own messed up issues separate from each other, but together they are just they are wonderful together.
They heal up what the other needs.
Yeah. But they also have this really quirky start to their relationship, and well, not necessarily the relationship of them being together. I mean, them actually meeting, it was pretty messed up, and involved a few punches and a sword fight with some interesting things said. But Hook kind of developed, and there was this whole thing about being on the bad side and switching to the good and all that jazz. And Emma's always on the good. She's the saviour. She's our main character. And in that healing process of him changing, and it was some really horrible stuff that he went through in order to become that person, the two of them just kind of developed this relationship. But they've been developing it since the first time they met, even though they're spatting horrible words to each other. It's there's an undertone to it. And their first kiss in Neverland's brilliant. Absolutely. Oh my god, it's one of my favourite kisses on the show. It's absolutely wonderful. I mean, like other relationships, like the fandom for Once Upon a Time, obviously there are loads of people that love Emma and Hook, or should I say Emma and Killian, because Killian is his actual name, but Hook is...
Isn't it Captain Swan? Isn't that the ship name?
Yes, that's the ship name, yes.
Do you like Rum Bell?
Well, Rum Bell is I like it, but I don't love it.
Right.
Except when it came to an end with Bell's death, it was. But that was very, very late when she was a very, very old lady. This wasn't like something that just randomly happened in the middle of something. It was really quite sad, and the whole the teacup, the chipped teacup, it just broke my heart with them. But they had a really so messed up. How can you fathom that they'd even find each other again? Yet they constantly found each other.
That's what I love.
But I do like that. But I love Emma and Hook's relationship and their connection more.
Yeah. See, like Robert and Aaron have broken up. God, I don't even know how many times. About 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they had like a major breakup in mid 2017 because Robert really fucked up.
Yeah.
Like majorly did.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fair enough. But I love that. I love stories where you have a pair of lovers who, it doesn't matter what life throws at them, they will always find each other again.
Yeah, and it's funny because Emma's parents are Snow White and Prince Charming, and their thing that they always say, and it's always true, is that I will always find you. And at one point, Hook and Emma are separated, and Hook's able to get a message to her, and he says that, and I'm like, and she says it as well, and I'm like, oh my god, so I'm just,
but that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the greatness of these types of love stories, and I think that's, to be honest,
looking at your
all
list.
of my list, that's kind of what
It's a running theme.
It really
It
is a running theme.
Yeah. Should we talk about your second one?
Yes.
So yes,
my second one.
It's just to conclude with Once Upon a Time. I mean, I do like From Pull and Bell, but my heart belongs to Emma and Hook.
That's fair enough. So my second one is a new ship
Yay!
in my life.
And it means Laura's going to read the Mortal Instruments.
Yay! Where's the book?
There
it is.
It's on the coffee table. There we go.
I saw the film today.
Yay! Good
I have the first 6 books.
Yeah.
I gave them away and now I've rebought them. Because basically I was on Tumblr, as you are, and I came across Malik, which is Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood
from the
Mortal Instruments series.
Written by Cassandra Clare, who I've done reviews of her books on his channel.
Yeah. And I went on YouTube, and of course there are all these ridiculously clever people that condense relationships into little chunks. And I've watched all of their scenes. I've also watched the first 4 episodes in full.
That's of Shadowhunters. And what the video that you're talking about, their relationship. Because there's a TV series, Shadowhunters, and there's the film that was made several years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago now.
Oh, 5
years ago now. And I just fell in love with their relationship. Alec was this really kind of tightly wound man who really needed to relax.
Yeah.
And he came out and he got with Magnus, and their relationship is so, so gorgeous. And my favourite scene is it's the first time that they make love, and they're kissing on the bed, and Magnus does this with his eyes, and he turns away from Alec, and Alec's like, "What's the matter with you? What's wrong?" And he shows him his golden eyes, expecting Alec to reject him. And Alec puts his hand on his cheek and he says, "They're beautiful. You're beautiful." And he accepts this thing that Magnus was really afraid of.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God, that is gorgeous." That moment sold me. So naturally, I went on YouTube and I just watched the rest of it. It was brilliant. And I'm actually, I enjoy the series, but it's laying the groundwork. Like the first 4 episodes is probably like the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film.
Right.
Because they've had time to
I was going to say,
out.
they have the...
I could be wrong there. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I could be wrong there. And I watched the film today, and I have to say, I really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
It's a real shame that it wasn't picked up.
Well, I think as I said,
one.
because I was saying about kind of changes to the book and such, and saying like there's a scene where near the end, and Alec is really hurt, and Bane's looking after him, and I was like, that's the last time you'll see them. And that's the last time you'll see them. You know, kind of, but it was the thing that they were planning to make it continued on, and it just didn't have the success it did, so it didn't get picked up for a second film.
I know. I know that there's a lot of talk in the fandom about the company that produced the TV show.
Yeah.
That they haven't pushed it enough. They haven't advertised it enough.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, because Shadowhunters has now been cancelled by Netflix, but the fandom wants it to carry on.
Yeah, and to be fair to them, they have organised. They've raised money. They've signed petitions. They are campaigning like mad on Twitter.
Yeah.
More power to you guys. I think that's incredible. But Magnus and Alec are, to me, from what I've seen, they're the heart of the show.
Yeah.
They really, really are. And the chemistry between Harry Shum Jr. and Matthew Daddario, who is beautiful. Like, beautiful. Like, and he's 31, which makes me feel better. Their chemistry is perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
It's just so lovely. Yeah. And I can't wait to read the books. Now that I've watched the film, which is silly, I know, but I sometimes like knowing the
But-
direction.
but
I get it.
I think it's that thing. I was just about to say about
Yeah.
the direction that, if, as you said, it's only covering like the first 20 minutes of film, and even though there's a lot of the film which is different from the book, as everyone in the fandom will tell you, you got more of an understanding of it.
Of course,
And
yeah.
the structure of it, and
Yeah.
who's related to who,
Yeah.
and stuff. Even though the family trees in the books are just here, there, and everywhere,
Yeah.
but you got more of a stability in a sense by watching the film.
And I think as well, I love how, and I see it myself, how passionate the fandom is
Yeah.
about this series.
Mhm.
And obviously the new book, Queen of Air and Darkness,
Yeah.
came out like last month, and then
Yeah.
they released the cover for the next book, which comes out, I think there's like 3 books due out this year.
Yeah.
Cassandra Clare is working.
Yeah.
She's doing the
She
work.
works, yeah.
But yeah, Malik,
Yeah.
I love it. I thought it was beautiful.
Right, let's go on to mine, and my second one, shall I
It's
say.
so gorgeous.
Which I think is beautiful too. It's the Doctor and River song from Doctor Who.
Chemistry, baby.
That is chemistry.
Chemistry,
that is
baby.
chemistry.
It was
Now-
great.
River was first introduced in series 4 when Donna and the Doctor met her in the library, and her opening line has become her tag throughout the entire rest of the series that she was in, the various ones, which is "Hello, sweetie." "Hello, sweetie" and "spoilers" are her two
Alex
phrases.
Kingston is so sexy.
And Alex Kingston was perfect casting.
She's
gorgeous. She's
amazing.
wonderful. But she met the Doctor. The Doctor had never met her, but she had met him, because they're both time travelers, but they never meet in the right order. So they have diaries for them to sync
Mm-hmm.
where they've met. And of course, this was the first time the Doctor had met her, so he didn't have a diary. And she was like, okay, this is freaking me the hell out. But she couldn't reveal who she was, and there was a little back and forth, and her sort of dying, but he saved her life, and all
And
this
then
lot.
they kissed.
And no, not until later. This is David Tennant.
Oh, okay.
This is David Tennant, Doctor. Right, that's the only counter as David Tennant. That she
Okay.
had with him.
Okay.
And then, so he saved that. But it was in that final scene with the two of them in the library, she revealed about their final day together, and she said, you had a new face and a new suit, and you took me to this restaurant on this planet, name it's just completely falling out of my head, and you cried and stuff like this, and I couldn't understand, but now I get it. And he's like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And she knows his real name, and she tells him in his ear, and he knows that she's going to be very important. Fast forward a few years, and we've got Matt Smith's Doctor, and River's back. But it's earlier in her timeline and later in his timeline.
It confuses me.
So yeah, they had the diaries and it began to see. But her chemistry with Matt Smith was
off the charts.
oh my god! And that's when the kissing started.
I don't even watch Doctor Who.
You saw that kiss.
I
didn't you?
saw that kiss and my jaw was on the floor. I was like, that is a kiss.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Matt Smith looks like a great kisser.
Mm.
He really does.
Yeah. And and obviously it got, revealed. Actually, it's really funny because Billie Piper's been asked before, and it was on Graham Norton, how she has actually snogged both David Tennant and Matt Smith, because Matt Smith was in that series where she played a prostitute, wasn't it? Secrets of a Call Girl?
Secrets of a Call Girl.
Yeah, he was one of her clients in that programme. So Graham was like, come on, tell us which one's the best kisser, like that kind of thing. But yeah, so River and Doctor have this very, very complicated relationship. And as I said, the time travel, the weaving back and forth, but they totally get each other.
Mm-hmm.
They are totally level with each other. He's never made her just thinking about wrong decisions. He's never told her off for anything, but he does raise his voice when she says something wrong.
Mm.
He lets her know when she's done something wrong, and the reason for that is some people in fandom are a bit like, oh, when he did certain things, but the reason for that is because he knew her when she was a baby, and he kind of knew her kind of growing up. Because but Amy and Rory, who were two of his kids,
yes, I know that
they are her parents.
That's right.
Yes,
because I remember when she died.
Yeah,
I watched that
when Amy died.
When Amy
and
died,
and
Rory died at the same time.
Yeah.
Raggedy Man Goodbye.
Yeah.
I remember that. And I remember when Clara was falling and he calls her my impossible girl.
Yeah.
And I love that moment. Clara, my Clara.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. These are literally the only things I've ever seen in Doctor Who. This is like a whole mess of crap I've never
there's
seen.
so much stuff you haven't seen, but with her, it was so beautiful that in her very, very last episode was one of the last ones that Stephen Moffat did, because Stephen Moffat wrote her character.
Right.
He always wrote and directed in that when it was her episode.
Yeah.
He never let anyone touch her. So when he said he was leaving,
River
had a Christmas special.
Right, okay.
And it was Peter Capaldi's first special, so it was the first one as a new face. So she didn't know who he was, and they met up, and she realised who he was after a while, and he just turned to her and went, "Hello, sweetie," and it was just like, oh my god! And he took her to the restaurant and cried when they listened to it, and he said, "I've paid for a day on this place for us to spend the final day together," and she went, "Well, how long does a day last on this planet?" And he was like, 48 years. So they get a lifetime together before, but he never tells her about the library before he says goodbye to her, and she goes to the library. You know she's going to the library the next day, so it ends on a high, even though you know she's going to go now. It was a really beautiful way to sum it up, and I love them. I love them so much. They are so wonderful. So let's move on to your third one.
My third one is Olitz, which is Olivia Pope and Fitzgerald Grant III from Scandal, ABC's Scandal. Shonda Rhimes' show about a political love affair between Olivia Pope, who is a crisis manager, a sort of political crisis manager.
She deals with the things when the shit hits the
fan. She's the person you call.
Yeah.
And Fitzgerald Grant, who is the President of the United States and is married to someone else.
Yes.
And the first episode is absolutely phenomenal. I watched the first season of Scandal in a day. It's only 7 episodes long.
Oh, right, so it's not like a 22...
No, the second season was a 22 episode season. I think they just made it because I think it was her first series after Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, okay.
So I think she was given like 7 episodes to like make an impression.
Yeah.
So if it hadn't taken off, they hadn't lost much money.
Right.
But as it happened, it really did take off. It was a huge, huge hit. And Olivia and Fitz, on the surface of it, look like they have just a completely professional relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks everyone else to leave the room, and there is just this crackle of chemistry between Olivia and Fitz, and it's Kerry Washington and Tony Goldwyn.
Mm-hmm.
And their chemistry is just unbelievable. I was on board from that first season, and it was a crazy, crazy ride. But they always had this thing where after they got out of this snake pit that is Washington DC, they would move to Vermont and they would have babies, and she would make jam and he would be the mayor of the town that they moved to. They would have an ordinary, simple life. Well, it doesn't matter, because once you're president, you can't have a normal, simple life.
No.
That just simply doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's all about Olivia trying to solve various different political crises. B, it's about their relationship and how they both mess up a lot. And C, they are kind of meant to be. So they've got to go through some serious shit. But they are so... At various points, they're quite toxic for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they just go through it, they come out the other end, and they come back together.
Yeah.
And they are just... They even had like a fan service wedding that was like a... It was like a, if this hadn't happened, would this happen kind of situation. Right. And they had a wedding, and it
Scandal's not on anymore, is it?
No,
is that right?
it finished. It completely finished.
Right.
Because she's got her other series, How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is still going. And
yes.
Grey's Anatomy, which is still going after 15 years. And I don't have any couples from Grey's Anatomy on my list because I have learned my lesson. We do not ship Grey's Anatomy couples because one of them will die or one of them will leave.
It's the way it goes.
I will never ever forgive her for the way she treated Crowan. I just won't. Which was Christina and Owen, who were...
That's a whole nother video in itself.
They were golden. And she took gold and turned it into pebbles. It was so sad.
Okay.
I'm still...
Okay, Laura.
I'm still not over that. But anyway, Olits were wonderful. Yeah. I loved Olits so much.
Cool.
And they had these other fellas that would periodically come up, but nobody was Fitz for Olivia, and nobody else was Olivia for Fitz. They were just magnets and perfection. Loved it.
Cool.
Go on.
Okay, number 3 for me. It's Gilbert and Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I
literally love
Anne of Green Gables. We might watch a bit later. I don't know.
Is that Anne with an E or an A?
No. No. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the Netflix series.
Yeah.
There's a recent Netflix series called Anne with an E.
Anne with an E.
Yeah.
Right.
But Anne of Green Gables, the one from the 80s with
Megan
in it.
Follows or Fellows?
I love it. Fellows. I love. Yes, but we might watch them later.
Okay.
We'll see if we've got time to watch them before you go. So Anne and Gilbert met when they were children, when Anne turns up on the island she's basically kind of adopted by this brother and sister team, and they thought they were getting a boy, and then a girl turns up and they're a bit like, oh, but they're just a bit like, okay. They weren't anticipating that, and they thought that the child's going to be much younger than Anne, who is about 12, 13. She's obsessed with reading. She's in love with romance. She's kind of very me. No. I was going to say Marianne, a young Marianne.
Yeah.
Princess Sensibility. And she and Gilbert do not get on at the start, to the point where he's pulling on her pigtails and calling her Red all the time in school, so she turns around and smashes her slate on his head and breaks it into pieces. And he upsets her so much that she tries to dye her hair black and makes it green instead. She goes through a bit of a mill as a child. At one point, she's at a friend's house and they find a bottle of wine and they get drunk on this wine when they're about 13 years old. And because she is the one who's the poorer out of the two, Diane, that's her name, she gets blamed for it.
Right.
As corrupting Diane and being a very naughty girl.
But I take it they grow up a bit and fall in love.
They do. Oh. Very, very much so. But it's so lovely with their relationship that there's a bit where she's depicting herself as Ophelia in Hamlet, And she has this thing where she'll just lie back and she'll say quotes and hold books to her chest, and she's all like that. And she actually goes down a river on a boat, but the boat sinks, and she ends up like clinging to this bridge. There's a bridge in the middle of this river, and Gilbert just turns up and takes her back to the riverbank, and she's mortified by this. And of course, she's soaking wet, and she's really. And he's like, "Don't worry about it. You know, it's fine. Don't feel embarrassed about it. You had an accident. You're fine." And of course, because Diane, her best friend, has gone off screaming, "Anne's dead! Anne's dead!" and screaming her head off. Running to get help, and she's panicking like crazy. But that was really the first steps of their relationship. It's one of those relationships that very much, it takes a very long time, and it blossoms beautifully. And there's like her, she goes away, she comes back, and her training to be a teacher and such, and she finds out that Gilbert's sick and he may be dying. And she goes to see him, and she kind of tells him how she feels, and he pulls through. And she goes to him every single day and makes sure that he's better and better. And it just beautifully blossoms. And then they have so much stuff that happens when they're adults, with her going off to start a career, and he's starting his, and in Road to Avonlea, which was the sequel to the Anne of Green Gables, Gilbert turns up, but what he says and why he's there for a funeral, but what he says about what's going on with Anne and their children isn't quite right compared to what they then later depicted in later films, because they kept on doing a series of films over the next 10 years or so. So you really follow Anne and Gilbert from when they're about 12, 13, all the way through to mid-40s.
Bloody hell.
And it's really the last one that they're in, even though it's kind of, lots of people don't like it because of what is depicted. And they went, well, that would never happen, but, you know, it's what they wrote for this film. It's a really beautiful ending with them adopting a little boy who was much younger than Anne at the time that she was adopted. A little boy is of a little girl, and the shot of her coming up to the train station to meet him is exactly the same as when she was there. And they end up living together and raising this child and having their own children on King Edward Island in the house that Anne was raised. Of Green Gables. It's actually making me choke up. It's such a beautiful, angelic relationship, and they just fit each other perfect. And I love them. That's it.
That's the thing with like all my couples, is that they all fit.
Yes.
There's one couple I can see on here who there is a great deal of toxicity, but I'll get to that.
Yeah. So let's move on, because we're like half hour through. We're only at 4 on the list of 10.
We'll try to be a bit more succinct. Yeah. Right. My fourth one is a couple from How to Get Away with Murder. Again, a very new one for me. But I ship this couple, so naturally I've seen all their stuff on YouTube, and I've just watched the first season of the show itself, which is actually really, really good. It is really good. And they are Colliver, which is Connor and Oliver. And I try to ignore the fact that Connor is called Connor, because that is my son's name, and it's a bit weird, but it just is what it is. As a couple, they are fantastic, because Connor at the beginning of it is this slick, he's gay. I mean, obviously they're a gay couple, but he's very much not into boyfriends. He's very much into one-night stands, and he's just kind of a single bloke, enjoying being single. He's a law student. He gets into this prestigious class run by Annalise Keating, even, who is played by the exceptional Viola Davis. I mean, how Viola Davis is not... Well, she is. She's an Oscar winner, but she should be like a mega superstar.
Do you
know what I mean?
I knew from the first thing I saw her in was Doubt.
She is,
and I thought that she's only in it for about 5 minutes or so. But my God, you vividly remember her.
She's a force of nature. Yeah. She is an amazing actress. But anyway, so he had to get into this database to find something on somebody, and he approached this bloke in a bar, Oliver, who was quite his opposite, very shy, very quiet, wears glasses, isn't confident at all. So when he sees this beautiful man, because Connor is very beautiful, and Connor seduces him and then gets him to do this password for him, and Connor keeps coming back because he sees something in Oliver that he really likes. And they have amazing sex together, and Connor likes sex, and Oliver likes sex, and it's all fine, it's all good. But there comes a point where Oliver's like, well, you just come to me when you want something, so why can't we just be normal and date? And Connor's like, okay. And eventually they fall so much in love with each other. It is beautiful, the character development of both of them, because Oliver is eventually sort of not employed by them, but he does things where he hacks computers for them and cameras and whatever else they need. That's what he does. He's a very, very talented hacker, and their relationship is so good because they break up, they make up, they get in danger, they love each other. They just complement each other. And towards like the later seasons, Connor actively puts Oliver first.
Yeah.
And the character development of both of them. Oliver stops being a doormat.
Yeah.
Because he recognised that Connor was using him to a certain extent, and using him not only for his hacking abilities, but as a kind of security blanket.
Okay.
Like, you're in this big bad world.
Yeah.
And you come to me for comfort and security, and I don't like being that.
Right.
He wants to be an equal.
Got
essentially.
You. Yeah.
And but their relationship is just absolutely beautiful. And Jack Fahey and Conrad Ricamora, who play them, have beautiful chemistry. And yeah, so that's Oliver.
Yeah. My next one is one that we both agree on. That we both
yeah.
It's Jane Eyre and Mr. Rochester.
Absolutely.
Now, I did have on my list, and I crossed them out because I had to limit, because I did a list of loads and then I picked 10 specifically. For a while I had Kathy and Heathcliff on there, but it was because I loved Wuthering Heights, but then because of with their relationship and the strength of all of these ships and such, I took them off.
Yeah.
But I couldn't take off Jane and Rochester.
They're perfect.
They're wonderful. So Jane and Rochester are obviously from Jane Eyre, and they live at Thornfield House, and Jane Eyre covers when she is in her life and stuff with her childhood and everything, and then she's employed to work as a governess at Thornfield for a little girl called Adele, and it's all about her relationship with Mr. Rochester, where it goes. Issues spring up, some very big issues, some very big secrets, and ultimately them coming together.
And they fall in love.
Yeah, and the thing about their relationship is I love how open it is from the start. And by open, I mean from the start, he talks to her about his past, about Adele, about Adele's past, about all these little things. Okay, yes, he's very secretive about one particular thing, which you can understand why he's rather secretive, but at the same time, we've said about in previous videos about how if he had said, this is my situation, will you please stay? I can't marry you, but will you please stay with me? I'm sure she would have, because he was being open, just as he always had been. But because he wasn't about that one thing, it caused various events to happen.
I do think she would have stayed if he had said, "Can you wait for me?"
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
she would have stayed.
Yeah, totally.
But on the proviso that their relationship would remain platonic, so no kissing, no hugging, nothing like that.
Yeah, as they always had been.
Just as they always had been, but he didn't. He chose to lie to her because he was afraid of what she would say.
Yeah,
and I don't see that as, I have said it before. There are people that view Rochester as abusive, and I don't at all. I think he reacts from a place of fear.
Yes.
Not from a place of wanting control over her.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's the difference. And I think, do you remember when I said about in our video about Beauty and the Beast and how that we're in a really dangerous territory by interpreting particularly male actions with abuse?
Yeah.
When sometimes it is, and sometimes it is a reaction from fear.
Yeah.
That there is a difference.
Yeah.
Abuse is a pattern.
Yeah.
And
that from fear is like an impulse.
Absolutely. Fear is an impulse.
Yeah.
Abuse is a pattern.
Yeah.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, I see Rochester as someone who is frightened of losing her.
I kind of feel like, especially with him as leading man as well, it's very refreshing to see this man who he cries, he yells, he goes through all these various
He's a very emotional man.
He's kind of in a realm of like the Mr. Darcy's and stuff like that.
But he's not like Darcy.
No. But I was just about to say, it's nice to have a breath of fresh air, to have someone who's a different way.
Yeah.
But we're saying he's our leading guy. It's like the breath of fresh air of The Woman in White.
Yes.
That it's really harsh. It's a hard book, for all the crap and abuse and all that gets thrown. That's part of this mixture. But compare that to all of like the Pride and Prejudices and other classics that get shoved down your throat. Why isn't that one acknowledged? It's the breath of fresh air in a field full of, stereotypes and
Rochester's got stuff going on. Yeah. I don't deny that.
Yeah,
but Rochester is not Percival Glyde.
No.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Do you see what I say?
Yes, totally, yeah.
But anyway,
let's move on to yours.
Next. A classic. The greatest love story ever told. Romeo and Juliet.
Of course. I'd be very shocked if you didn't have Romeo and Juliet.
They're like, look, fuck all the insta love haters, okay? I get it. It's annoying, but the play doesn't fucking work if they don't love each other.
Very true.
Sorry, but it doesn't work.
It's very true.
And they have to fall in love immediately to get the action going.
Yeah.
They can't not. Shakespeare couldn't have spent 4 more acts going, do you fancy getting a coffee? Well, yeah. Oh, that's awkward. Shall I send a text? Oh, I don't know what that means. What does that... Do you know what? The conversations I have at work with people agonising over the grammar in text messages. It's hilarious. But anyway,
yes.
Romeo and Juliet fall crazy, desperate, joyfully in love with each other.
Yeah.
And they are perfect. I'm sorry. I can't. It's like you with Cathy and Heathcliff.
Yeah.
That the bridge of love over life into death.
Yeah.
Where they can be together and be who they are.
Yeah.
Definite parallel there.
Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree with you. Yeah. It's, they're wonderful. Yeah. It's like, if they weren't together, they'd still be alive.
I was thinking, actually, I'd love to see a production of Romeo and Juliet where Juliet is a gangster's daughter.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Like she's always played as being quite innocent and simple.
Mm.
I would love to see a production of Romeo and Juliet where Juliet just like, oh God, I don't know. I know, like, in the scene where she goes to see the friar about the potion.
Yeah.
And in, like, the Luhrmann adaptation, she holds a gun to herself.
Yeah.
Why isn't she holding a gun up to him? She's a gangster's daughter.
Well, at one point she does, doesn't she?
She does, but
it's not the whole scene is not directed towards him. It's apart from that last line where she says, "I long to die."
Yeah. But I don't know. I just would love to see a production of Romeo and Juliet where Juliet has a bit of a harder edge.
Mm.
I think that would be really, really Interesting. But yeah, no, Romeo and Juliet are classic, the ultimate OTP.
Yeah, and
Possibly.
I liked
Except Rob Run.
the most the recent RSC production that I saw in June, where they gender swapped some roles, which
That was incredible.
wonderful. Which was absolutely. I'm really hoping that they're going to announce soon when they're going to release it on DVD and Blu-ray, because I really love a copy. That put a whole new complexity to the story, and I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And at the Cheltenham Literature Festival, the girl who played Mercutio and the director turned up to do a workshop session and to see how they developed her in. And she was saying how she always saw Mercutio as a girl, even when she was little.
Yeah. No, I get
the way that he is.
I can kind of understand. And Mercutio, to be honest, is perfect for a gender fluid interpretation. Because if Mercutio were female, so how did this girl, tomboy, gender neutral person come to be in the gang?
Yeah.
What did she do to earn her place there?
Yeah.
That's a fascinating idea.
I like that they did that, and maybe this is the first step to doing something more like that with the gangster-esque kind of version.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe we're headed that way. You never know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on.
Okay, my next one is one that I just fell in love with because of the book. I just love them so much. It's Pierre and Natasha from War and Peace.
Yeah.
I love them.
See, I'm a Natasha Andre shipper.
Yes, I know you are.
Because they're kind of...
Okay, I get the whole...
I haven't read the book, though, so I haven't...
Yes, you haven't read the...
Yeah.
I mean, the drama did very well with depicting their relationship, but what I love more about the book, which you didn't really get across in the drama, is how close Natasha is to Pierre straight off the bat. Because when in the first scene when he went to the house and everything, and he's welcomed, and he's hugged and everything, like, you know how he's quite awkward, socially awkward at balls, and she's the only one who acknowledges him constantly. She's the only one. She's the only one who sits and listens to him. She's the only one who asks him questions, who really connects with him. So straight off the bat, you can feel it in the books that there is this connection with them. And even though it doesn't begin as love, there is something there already established. It's like that the two of them can't even realise themselves is established, and then it builds up and builds.
It's like Levin and Kitty, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing in Anna Karenina. It's like the contrast between passion, explosive, crazy passion that gets turned into a relationship which dies, and a relationship that starts as a friendship and builds on a solid foundation.
It's very interesting that you referred to that, because I didn't get to mention in my review of Anna Karenina how... Well, I did mention about how it uses a lot of metaphors and all that lot, and the use of colour and light. And when I was reading it, I was just thinking the whole time, Levin and that is a candle that's just lit, and it melts down the candle, and then it'll go out eventually. Whereas Anne and Vronsky are a firework.
They are,
or a sparkler,
and they peter out to nothing.
And it just quickly. Yeah.
It's such a sad book, but
Pierre and Natasha have got this stability with each other, and as things go along, like, she is the one that tells him about stuff that's going on, like Sonia and her brother. She's the one who tells him he is the only person she will confide in about this new man who's that's caught her eye, that's the bad boy of the piece. The fact that he is the one that she confides in, and then when the shit hits the fan, he is the one that's summoned after she kills herself. Well, no, sorry, tries to kill herself. Let's say she doesn't actually kill herself. So I find that really interesting. Like, they both need each other in a time of need, and when, like with Pierre, he might not necessarily realise that he is in need when he's in the ballroom and there's arguments going on and he's being awkward and all this lot. But Natasha knows, so she comes to his aid.
I do love
and
how
he's there for her.
Pierre, he shouts Kirian down about her, doesn't he? He defends her.
Yeah.
And they are soulmates.
Yeah.
They are soulmates, and that doesn't necessarily always look
I love the
good,
moment.
but
I love the moment where they're leaving their home and such, Natasha and her family, and she finds Pierre in the crowd, and he's going to shoot Napoleon, and you know, and he kisses her hand and says, you know, think of me well, God bless you, and walks away. And that moment, she knows that he's going to do something.
He's not right in the head there, is he?
She can't get to him. But their reunion at the end is just wonderful. I love them so much, and they're perfect.
They're perfect. Yeah,
They're wonderful. So
right, my next two are also soulmates, and they are Claire and Jamie from the Outlander series. I spent nearly 2 years reading 8 books about these two people,
and they were big books.
They were big old bitches.
She said it, not me.
There was one book which, quite frankly, if I had been Diana Gabaldon's editor, would have been at least 400 pages shorter, but that's just me. No, their connection is profound, and it is soulmatehood. It's that fusion of two people who cannot be with anybody else.
Yeah. Who,
after 20 years of being separated, still love and pine for each other. And their reunion in book 3, Voyager, it is the most beautiful reunion, and it's just perfection. I adore Outlander. Having said that, I haven't yet watched season 4. Because I find that Outlander is better.
You like to watch it in full,
as a burst, rather than in episodic.
Yeah, I like that with Game of Thrones. When I watched it as box sets, I'm like, I'm fine with this. But as soon as week by week, I get bored.
That's the problem with Game of Thrones, because there's so really much to say, so many people to keep up with. It's easier to watch it in a burst. Yeah. So Claire and Jamie are just. Jamie is such a great man, and Claire is a great woman. I mean, I have sort of distanced myself a little bit from Outlander. I've just moved on to other things, and that's fine. But their love is legendary, and I adore them. I can't wait for book 9 to come out. Go Tell the Bees I've Gone to come out. Although I will be waiting for the paperback. I'm sorry, but I will.
Well, you're like me, that if you've got it in paperbacks, like I'm desperate for the new C.J. Sansom, which came out late October, November.
Toonland.
Yeah, but it's in hardback, and all of my books are in paperback, so it's gonna have to wait.
Theme park.
But I did pick up a copy, and I looked to the back just to make sure that Matthew and Dane are still alive, and they are. So
yeah.
As long as they're okay, my boys are all right, I'm happy.
Claire and Jamie, the love is legendary, and the tartan is life.
And for me, at the moment, it's a friendship. For my next one, should I say? At the moment, it's a friendship, but we know there's something going on underneath, and we really want to get some more. It's Cormoran and Robin.
They've got to get together.
From the Strike books, they have to be together.
I need another book, and I'm going to have to wait for it, and I don't want to.
Yes, same here.
It's ridiculous. And actually, there is a connection with my next one.
Oh, there is. Yes. So Robin and Cormoran are colleagues. They started off with her being a temporary receptionist. She's now a partner in their detective agency, and they have this really beautiful relationship. Cormoran has always been very respectful to women, regardless of who they are. It is one of his great traits.
He's perfection.
He is.
He's perfect. He's really sexy, actually, as well.
Yeah. And he is so respectful to Robin.
He is. He's wonderful.
And he takes, if Robin needs 5 minutes, he'll fight 10. You know, he's very much supports her constantly. Yes, they have their arguments. They have their moments. I'm not saying that they're perfect.
I just realised we've got how many, like 5 videos talking about them?
I don't care. I honestly don't care. Yeah, they've had their ups and downs. They have their moments where, you know, they've gone to rather dark places in their relationship, but it's a developmental thing, and he has stood by her through thick and
He really
thin.
has.
Really has.
Really has.
Gone through the absolute ringer in some cases, hasn't he, for her? And they are just wonderful together. And it's that thing that in the detective agency that she can see things that he may not necessarily see, or she can approach a situation that he never would be able to, or in a way that he'd never think of doing.
Yeah.
And in a way, the same is vice versa. So she learns a lot from him, and he learns a lot from her as well, both professionally and personally. And their relationship, especially in Lethal Y, is just, oh my god,
it's perfection.
Amazing.
They are amazing, and we need another book.
Wonderful. Yeah.
It's going to be years before we get one.
So yeah, so let's go on to the next one, because we've already, as you said, like done 5 videos.
We've done a lot of videos about Cormoran and Robin, haven't we? So you can check those out if you want more detail. But
and the connection to the next one
is my next couple are Milathos, which is Milady de Winter, and Athos from the Musketeers. Athos being played by Tom Burke, who plays Cormoran. And they are my favourite toxic ship.
They are very toxic.
They are so bad for each other, but they are so good too.
I have a weird complex about their relationship, because their chemistry is undeniable.
It's off the charts.
It's
off the fan bloody tastic.
Charts. It is so mental. But at the same time, all I can think of, I just stare at her and I just think, you bitch. She's awful. Awful. One of the most awful human beings ever in existence in history.
She's terrible.
Yeah.
But they're just like... They just cannot keep away from each other.
There was this whole thing that they had a past relationship, and there was the whole thing to do with the death of his brother and her being
but that kiss in that cupboard.
I know, the kiss in the cupboard. The kiss in the cupboard. It's series 2 is just like, holy cow! It's like weekend the knees moment.
It's, one of those like meters, like Geiger counters.
Yeah.
Like so crazy. And
before you watched the Musketeers, I sent you a gif of that or something.
Yeah, and I was like, what is that? I need to see that.
It is unreal. It starts with the cupboard, it goes out of the cupboard, it goes smack up against a pillar.
I tell you what, if that hadn't been family friendly, that would have gone further. And I'd have lapped that up. That was awesome. But there is this scene in season 3, which absolutely crystallises why they don't work, why they're bad for each other, and why breaking up was absolutely the best thing for both of them.
Yeah.
Because she left him, there was like a miscommunication. She left him, he thought she was dead.
Yeah.
She came back, and they have this quick conversation, and they kiss, and it's all very hot and heavy, and they're both relieved to see each other. And he's got his hand like on her shoulder, and then she says something about Sylvie, this new girl that he's with, who he actually has a lovely relationship with. They're amazing together. And she says something about her, and he immediately puts his hands around her throat. But it's weird because they have this kind of relationship where that excites her to a degree there is something in her that loves...
I mean, look at when she's introduced, she has sex with D'Artagnan, and that makes her stab someone in the neck.
Well, yeah, but like he likes it too, because like in the episode where she burns his house down, she's got a knife to his throat, and he's telling her to kill him.
Yeah,
there is a part of him that enjoys that too. That there's a sort of a level of violence within their love.
Yeah,
that they both enjoy.
It's really messed up.
It is really messed up, and then they argue further, and he does something for Sylvie that he would never ever have done for her.
Yeah.
And that shows her.
Yeah.
It is done. It is over.
Yeah.
And she leaves finally.
Yeah.
But I love that about them. I love how fucked up and crazy their love is, and that physical chemistry between them. It's almost impossible for them to overcome.
Yeah.
But they do.
Okay, my number 7 is a set of brothers. It's my only set of brothers or set of siblings, should I say.
I don't have a single bro TP on mine.
I do.
I'm all about the sex.
And I believe, deep in my soul, they are the best. It's Sam and Dean Winchester.
I've never seen Supernatural in my life.
Oh, you have to. So
I just can't do it. I tried. I think I did like 15 minutes of the first episode.
Right.
And I was like,
okay, so Sam and Dean Winchester are from Supernatural. They are two brothers who basically fight evil things in this world, demons, vampires, all that kind of stuff. And they it's been on for like 14 years now.
I need to find this post to show you.
Okay,
go on.
And they are so different from each other, but they need each other.
Yeah.
So Sam is the younger one. He's the academic. He's the one who's obsessed with exercise and healthy eating, whereas Dean is very much beer, pizza, no, pie. Sorry, he loves pie and women. He's the one, cleaning knives. That kind of, he's a bit more. You could say badass, but Sam is totally just as badass. But they would kill for each other. They would do anything for each other. I'm trying to find this post. And there's a great thing that it's carried on throughout all the series. It was actually the first episode. Just their relationship with each other. And at one point, Dean, they're having a bit of a back and forth with each other, and Dean calls Sam. Oh no. Sam calls Dean bitch, and he calls and Dean calls Sam. Oh, what was it? It's something like tarts or something like that. And it's just this thing that they play off each other, and they have this kind of rather complex thing because Sam wanted to go to school. He wanted to get out of hunting things, but Dean didn't want to. It was the family thing, and their father goes missing in the pilot episode, and that's what kickstarts everything.
There's this post on Tumblr.
Oh no, it's not. It's whore. He says whore.
It calls him a whore.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's their thing that they have this kind of back and forth, with each other, but they absolutely adore each other. And they have, quite this complex relationship because of Dean stayed in the family business, but Sam didn't. And, all this complicated stuff. And Cass being thrown in as well. Castiel, Angel Castiel, I adore him.
What's the ship?
Dean's obsessed with Cass. Dean is absolutely obsessed with Cass.
What's the ship name? There's
the what?
Dean and
Castiel.
There's a ship because I've seen it.
Well, it's got various names. There's various,
I know that there's some weird one about the two brothers as well.
Yeah, there's one about the two brothers being together, but I'm not about them. I don't ship them for being together. I ship them for their relationship, for their brothers. I was just trying to find. There's a post on Tumblr going around, and I meant to send it to you.
What is it? Talking about how the world has changed since Supernatural started.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. I meant to send it to you and I can't find it.
If you find it, send it to me.
Talking about how George Bush was still president when it started.
Yeah.
Like,
ridiculous.
Britney Spears was at the top of the chart when it started.
Yeah.
Just
It's like
stuff
when
like
you
that.
look back at One Tree Hill and they're like, oh my God, podcast, this new thing called podcast, and flip phones and stuff like that. And it's like, it's that kind of thing as you go back. And there's actually a really good post because, you know how Legally Blonde, have you seen Legally Blonde? Where with, oh, you've never seen Legally Blonde? Oh, it's a great film. Reese Witherspoon, she has to get into law school and she's just the blonde.
That's right. She goes, what? Like it's hard?
Like it's hard? Like it's hard. Like it's hard. And she sits the LSATs, to get in, and she gets a certain score in Supernatural. The first episode, Sam has sat the LSATs and he's celebrating his ones, and someone's put a post of the two on top of each other, and he said it will always be immortalised that Sam Winchester scored lower than Legally Blonde. Than the girl in Legally Blonde, the LSATs, Elwoods, that's it. Yeah, but I love them together. Their bond, their relationship. They will die for each other. They have died for each other multiple times and been brought back from the dead. And when you throw Castiel into the mix, it's like, oh my God, Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
So right, let's crack on. We're an hour and 5 minutes in, and we've got 3 to go.
Three more. My next one is a fairly new ship, new in the sense that it's just been the last season, but they have been sort of working to get these two to meet for 6 years, 7 years in fact, and that is Jon Arrys. That is Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen.
Now, it was very interesting when Game of Thrones started, because one of the first things you've said is that Jon and Daenerys have to meet.
Jon and Daenerys needed to meet.
They need to meet.
Yeah, and it took them until the 3rd episode of season 6.
7? Is it
6 or 7?
Because 8, isn't it? The one this year.
Next one is 8.
And they only met last series.
Yeah. No, I think they met before.
Oh, I thought they met last series. Oh.
But they had sex last series on a boat.
Okay.
On a boat. They just kind of, it was one of those situations where you just knew that they were going to have sex. They knew they were going to have sex. Because what they did is they met, and what I expected to happen would be like this immediate, like, chemical stuff. Mm-hmm. No. They chose to build them up slowly, and then the chemical happened at the beginning of season 7, because she had to save Jon. She saved Jon, and in the thought of losing Jon, I think that's when it happened that she was like, yeah, okay, I really, really like this guy. And they have this this gorgeous scene, and I mean, it's called the Song of Ice and Fire. He is ice, she is fire.
Quite literally.
I mean, it must have been so weird because Kit Harington is married to Rose.
I can't think what her surname
What's
was.
her name?
I can't think.
Leslie? Rose Leslie?
Is it Leslie? I'm not sure.
But his wife is Amelia's best friend.
And she starred in Games of Thrones, playing his girlfriend for a while.
Egret, who died. And that's another thing. Like, they've both had great loves that they've lost.
Yeah.
They were both, like, at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And they've both built themselves up. She's the queen, he is the king.
Yeah.
So they have both gone on this almost parallel journey.
Yeah.
They've both loved and lost. They've found each other. And I pray the only thing I want is for them to have each other in the end. That is all I want. Everything else, everyone else, God help me, is fine. If it means that I have to lose Tyrion, it's okay. But I just need Jon and Daenerys to survive.
Right.
Please.
You'll find out later on this year.
Oh my God, I'm gonna die. They've said this is gonna be like 8 episode 9s. And episode 9 is the big kickoff. It's the Red Wedding episode. It's the episode that if you have a heart, it will be killed.
Right, I got you.
And so there's going to be 8 episodes
like that.
In that vein. And I am so scared. But all I want is Jon and Dany together.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. if it means, oh my God, I can't even fathom, because the wall fell down at the end of the last season, which means that the dead army are moving.
Oh,
south.
right, okay, yeah, I got you.
The army of the dead, or the other name for it,
The White Army,
the White Walkers,
yeah,
are walking down south.
Yeah,
and he has a dragon,
right?
Because
he'll quickly melt.
They captured one of Dany's dragons.
Yeah, they didn't want them to get killed.
Yeah, and they turned it into an ice dragon.
Ah.
So that's one of her children who has now been turned against her. But she still has two others. She's still got Rhaegar and the other one whose name I can't remember. But anyway, Daenerys, please, writing gods, just please keep them together. That's all I want.
And that's how I feel about my next couple.
Go on then.
JK, I need you to be good to me.
Oh yeah.
It's Queenie and Jacob from Fantastic
Beasts. Yeah,
Beasts.
we didn't talk about Fantastic Beasts, did we?
No.
Because what they did to Queenie and Jacob, I thought was a little bit off.
Okay, right. When it comes to Queenie and Jacob, I loved them the moment I saw them.
They are lovely
in
together.
the first film.
Yes.
Right. I still, throughout the second, even though it was a bit of a messed up situation with the second, I still absolutely love them. I am desperate for them to find each other as the films go on and get back together again. Yeah. Now, with the second film, Queenie got corrupted.
I felt like she had a bit of a personality transplant at first.
Well,
like,
at
she
first,
wasn't quite herself.
Well, she wasn't, but she was trying to keep an eye on the bewitched Jacob, wasn't she?
I know,
and make sure that he didn't mess up. So she was kind of like,
it was a little bit odd, wasn't it?
She was a bit odd at first, but then when he got broken, the spell that he was under got broken. You saw, the real relationship. And the thing with them is that Queenie is a witch and Jacob is a muggle or a nomad, as they're referred to in America. And they have this really beautiful relationship with each other, but they can't get married, they can't have children, all that jazz. And Queenie's like, oh, why don't we move to England, and then that way we can be together, because they don't have issue with us like they have in America. And he's like, well, no, my life's in America, I can't, do that. Why can't we just carry on? And she has the ability to read minds. So she's able to understand when what he's secretly thinking. Sorry, someone's just shoved through my letterbox. Something that he's secretly thinking versus what he's saying. And quite a few times in the second film, she hears what he's thinking, and it throws her off.
Yes, it does.
It really throws her off, and she gets corrupted.
Calls her crazy a couple of times, which I thought was a bit not very nice of him. But
it's that thing. They were having a heated argument, though, at the time.
Were.
So, people say things in arguments, but then he thought stuff. She heard those thoughts. That shocked her. She walked away from him. And she got corrupted by bad guys. And but that kind of links into the Harry Potter books, because there is this whole storyline in the Harry Potter books which they never did in films, and it's such a shame they didn't, where Percy Weasley, one of the older... You're right. One of the older Weasley brothers got corrupted by the Ministry of Magic, because he believes they're the good guys. They're doing what's best, and I want to do what's best, so I'm going to do.
It's that kind of naivety, isn't it?
It's the naivety thing, and it was a case of no, they're not good. Listen to your family, listen to what they're saying, but he couldn't separate the good and everything in his mind, and also that thing of he always wants to be head boy. He's got to be the best at everything, and he's been told, if you come to us at the ministry, we can get you a career. You can be friends with Cornelius Fudge and stuff. And so he gets easily corrupted, and Queenie has that same kind of innocence about her. And she got corrupted, and she's separated from Jacob at the moment. But when he's so upset when she crosses over the line, and she's begging him. He's begging her, don't do it, please. I'm begging you, don't do this. And she says, come with me, and he says no.
See, that whole set piece in the amphitheatre, I thought that was amazing. That was incredible.
My God.
Showing the Holocaust and the decimation of Europe. I thought that was incredible. The way that was done was amazing.
So at the moment, they're apart.
Completely apart.
But they still love each other. But it's so messed up. So JK, please be nice to me. Please bring my two together. So I'm in a bit of a weird situation with this ship because we don't know what's going on with them. But so at the minute, their initial step was wonderful. Their second step, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And we've still got 3 more steps to go, as it were, because it's 5 films.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in the next ones. So,
right,
number 9 for you.
Number 9, and I promise I'll be succinct.
Yeah.
Nagron from Spartacus, who is Nazir and Agron, two men who are gladiators and rebels, and men who can kill the snap of fingers, who can literally just kill everybody, but are so soft and loving with each other. Their relationship is so wonderful, and what's so great about it is it's the same. It's AMC. Is it AMC? I don't know. It's the same company that made Black Sails. Same production company that made Black Sails. But anyway, the point is that they have taken 2 of the manliest man tropes of gladiators and pirates and put 2 gay relationships in them who are so lovely and loving with each other. And what's wonderful about Spartacus is you have all different types of relationships. You have Nazir and Nazir and Agron, who obviously are gay. You have a bisexual woman who anybody, and not that is what that means, but what I'm saying is that she's open to everybody.
Yeah.
You've got masses of straight relationships too. All the romantic relationships are beautiful. All of them are, and they're all so good and so loving. And what's lovely about it is it's not an issue. Nobody cares that Agron kisses Nazir. No one cares, because it was obviously before labels or any of that applied. And their relationship is so lovely and so loving, and it is one of my absolute favourites in the entire show. And there's a moment between them where Agron begs Nazir to go away because he wants him to be safe. And Nazir says to him, "Do not go where I cannot follow." And he goes, "Well, I want you to live. It doesn't matter. I don't matter. It's you that matters."
Yeah.
And they're separated, and Agron comes back because he's really very, very injured. And at the very end, when there's the big battle, I mean, everyone knows Spartacus lost. And Agron says, "I'm going to go into battle. I'm doing this." And as if to say, there's nothing you can say that's going to make me not want to do this.
Yeah.
And Nazir says, he goes, "My place is on the field of battle." And Nazir says, "As mine is always by your side."
Oh, sweet.
And they're the only couple in the show that survive. Everyone else dies except them. It's perfect. I love the fact that they did that they put this beautifully realised, real relationship in the middle of this like most manly man thing of gladiators and slaves and all that. And it's Spartacus as a show is bloody-tastic. I love it.
Yeah.
But Nagron, they're amazing. Anyway,
okay, 9th one for me, and you love them too, don't you?
Yeah.
It's Ray and Jude from Romeo and Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Romeo and Jude is a Audible original drama, so obviously it's available for free for those who are on Audible, and it follows Ray and Jude. And Ray, he's a part of an Andran theatre production company group people, and they are putting on a production of Romeo and Juliet, and he is cast as Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
And at first he's rather shocked at the fact that Juliet is cast to be Jude, this like boy in his man.
Young man, really.
He's a young man. He's in his early 20s. He's been chucked out of uni for having sex with a teaching assistant, and they're quite polar opposites, aren't they?
You liked it, didn't you, when you listened to
I
it?
I did. I love it the more times that I listen to it, and it's about how their relationship develops, and it develops into a love story, and the various characters of their families, and how they relate to Romeo and Juliet. And there was some real shocker moments, some amazing revelations, but there was these beautiful moments. Like, I love this sequence where they break into Ray's ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife's house. I can't remember if they are actually divorced at that point. They are divorced at that point. And try on her clothing and have a bath together.
Yeah.
And leave the rim around the bath, and
it's
oh my god, they're so
good,
wonderful,
together.
And the complexity of their relationship and where it leads to, and the thing about a soul meeting another soul, because it's that thing that Ray is really confused, because he's like, I'm not gay, I don't see myself as gay, I've never had a desire for another man, but I want you. I want you.
He has. He admits later.
Well, yeah, he admits later, but you know, when he's dealing with this thing
at
of
first, it completely freaks him out.
It freaks him out, and Jude is the one who kind of opens him up to it.
Yeah, it's like I said before. He stops seeing Jude as a male.
Yes,
and sees Jude as Jude.
Yeah. As this beautiful soul, this beautiful spirit, and the stuff that he goes through with Jude's cousin is just
it's horrific.
Oh God, it's some of the harshest stuff I've ever heard on radio.
On the radio, yeah, because you've got your whole imagination, haven't you?
Yeah, it's really freaking hell. What they go through, and even what he goes through with Jude, and the ending is so tragic yet so beautiful and so perfect.
Yeah,
and that thing of I want you to live for us. You know, don't.
That living is the best revenge. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's beautiful, so beautiful. So
I know. I tweeted the author.
Yeah,
and which was amazing, and the author, the producer, and the head of the studio liked my tweet, which was really nice. So thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, Ray and Jude, they're so perfect, and I love them.
Yeah.
And on to your final one.
My final one.
We're getting there.
Matthew and Diana from A Discovery of Witches. I am 408 pages into this, and I love it. And Deborah Harkness has done something which very few authors do these days.
Which is?
She has built a relationship from the ground up. I am, almost 3/4 of the way through this now?
About so, yeah.
And they haven't had sex yet.
Woohoo!
Have
we had a kiss?
Oh, we've had lots of kisses.
Okay, right, so we've gone through that part. We've got past that point.
Yeah, we just haven't hit the home run yet.
Right.
But A Discovery of Witches, I cannot wait to watch the TV show.
Yeah. Because
I think Teresa Palmer and Matthew Good are going to be awesome together. But basically, Matthew and Diana, he is a vampire, she is a witch. She's a very, very powerful witch who hasn't got control over her powers because she's been repressing them for most of her life. They're not supposed to be together. There's a whole covenant saying they cannot be together because they prefer it as creatures if they all stick to their own kind, but they keep peace with each other, and it messes things up for them, and they don't like it. But Diana and Matthew are soulmates.
Yeah.
They absolutely understand and know each other, and it's just perfection. I haven't finished it yet. I know it's been like 2 months, but whatever.
No, you just
December is such a bad reading month for me anyway.
Yeah, don't feel bad about it. Take your time. You'll enjoy it more if you took your time.
Yeah, but they are true soulmates. And I think that's all of my people are all couples that I could not imagine one without the other.
Same here. Even Dean and Sam Winchester, the brothers.
I could not separate them and go find somebody else.
No.
It just wouldn't work.
No.
Like,
they couldn't survive without each other.
Exactly. Aaron and Robert cannot do without each other.
No.
These are all my soulmates.
Yeah.
Sod OTPs. These are soulmate people.
Yeah. And my last soulmate people is a couple they're lovely. It's Thornton and Margaret from North and South. Now that's North and South, the Elizabeth Gaskell book and drama. Obviously not North and South, the one that's the Civil War drama.
Yeah.
Lots of people have asked me about North and South before, and I've had to make it very clear which one I'm talking about because they think I'm talking about the Civil War, American Civil War one. That's not the case. It's the one that's Elizabeth Gaskell, about a girl who's grown up in the South with her family who get moved up north, and they go from countryside and fields of green to dirt and industrialisation and such. And one of the factory owners in the area where she's gotten to live is a guy called Mr. Thornton, and he's not the nicest of men when she meets him. He's
Mr. Darcy with harder edges.
I was going to say he's a guy who's got a complex because of what happened with his father when he was younger, and so he's had to really build the reputation of the family back up. So he's a certain way because of that. But he has got this really soft core to him.
He does.
Really sensitive. And he develops his relationship with Margaret because he begins to take lessons from her father in various studies, philosophy, all that kind of jazz, and really falls for her. And there's this whole stuff.
Can I say my favourite line from him?
Yeah.
I don't wish to marry you because I want to possess you. I want to marry you because I love you.
Yes.
And she stood by the window, and this most buttoned up man is virtually screaming that he loves her, and she completely ignores him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Margaret, just listen. But she won't, because she's stubborn.
But she's set. Yeah, she is stubborn in that moment. She's set in her ways, but she's only seen Thornton's harsh side. It's like with Elizabeth and Darcy.
It is. It's exactly the same, isn't it?
And he's going, "Hello, I want to marry you," and she's going, "You've been really nasty. Do you really think I'm gonna?"
Let's be honest. North and South is Pride and Prejudice with cotton mills and dirt.
Okay, you can argue that.
I'm not saying in a bad way.
I was going to say, it's not a bad thing. No. But I love how...
And a bit more social justice.
How open he is to... Like, I love the glances that he's always, like, looking for her and such in parties. And when they touch hands at the party, it's like, electric!
When she wears that dress.
Oh, yeah.
She's wearing a dress, a very low-cut dress. With a corset, so that means boobs are up.
Yeah.
And his face wanders.
Yeah.
He's a bit like...
And it's very interesting, because in that dinner, she talks about how she's become friends with the poor and the workers who have gone on strike, who work for Thornton, and that's how true. They react. And there's actually an amazing sequence, and it's just as wonderful in the book, where Thornton's workers have gone on strike, and they're going to come to the factory, and she's there, and she runs out and she begs them to go home, go back, and he kind of picks her up, as it were, to move her out of the way, and she automatically puts her arms around his neck, and then someone throws a rock and it slams into her skull and makes her pass out. And that moment is like, oh my God, there's so many things going on at that moment. And I love Fanny, his sister, in that moment. Did you see her throwing her arms around his neck? I nearly fainted.
I know.
She's really
I nearly fainted. No, she's great.
She's wonderful. But I love the way that they work together, and it's a meeting of minds
and souls,
and how he starts like eating lunch with the workers and stuff, and get to know them as people, making sure that they're okay, helping kids with their reading,
opening
and
the
stuff.
kitchen so they can all have a meal.
So they can have a hot meal. A hot meal
so they can be more productive because they've eaten.
Yeah.
And he slowly becomes a better employer.
And a better man.
And a better man
of Margaret.
because of him.
And the bit when he goes to her house in the south and brings her a
Do
flower
you know what
from
I've
home.
Do you know what I've always loved about that sequence? How like you've been in the north, in the dark and the grime of the north. You go south and they completely oversaturate the colour to the point where it's almost difficult to look at.
Yeah.
And you realise
it's shimmering.
You realise, it's nice. It's nice to look at, but it's got not much else.
Yeah.
Whereas in
the north,
in the north, she has use.
Yeah.
Although I do love the way that Elizabeth Gaskell just kills off her entire family when they get a bit more of a nuisance. It's like her mum dies, just kills her dad, just for no reason. Just goes, yeah, you're dead. Oh, Mr. Bell, your dad's
dying.
best friend who wanted to marry you, which is weird because he knew you like since before you were born.
Yeah, but it's that thing of older men, younger women, isn't it? It's
fucking weird.
He leaves you all of his fortune.
He's dead, so you've got money.
But she gives it to Thornton to save the factory.
She does.
It's wonderful how they just connect, and they're just wonderful.
They're fantastic.
Thornton and Margaret
they have that scene at the train station at the end, where that kiss is like,
oh my god,
4 hours you have sat there and it is worth every second.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
And I think that is
a long video.
It's a long video. Sorry it's so long, but we got through 20 ships and talked about all of them.
We did.
And we loved them all. Yes.
Our hearts.
Our hearts.
These 20 people live in our hearts.
Yeah, well mine's got more written on because they were my original and I scribbled loads of people out, so mine's unlucky.
It's 40 people.
40 people.
They all live in our hearts.
Yes.
My rock one. I'm sorry. It's been so long. They haven't been on screen together since Christmas.
Oh, Laura, it's only like the 5th of January for crying out loud.
Look, you're not... It's Aaron's birthday!
Yay.
It's Aaron's birthday.
Yay for Aaron. Anyway, so we're going to...
All right.
We're going to sign off. So thank you for sticking around watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to talk about the various ships, drop us a comment.
Bye.
Bye.